I'm officially welcoming you to Radical Change versus More of the Same, and I'm very happy to have all of you with us here today in this online setting. So in today's world, it might seem as if businesses and sustainability might be a bit of a contradiction. It seems like it's either about making money or about actually creating sustainable, social, environmentally sustainable business models. But in a way, I think that is the world of yesterday and not the world of today. Because in the world of today, there are a lot of businesses that have realized that it actually makes sense to combine an entrepreneurial outlook with an environmental and sustainable approach. The importance of sustainability is also reflected in those sustainability centers that exist in a lot of business schools all around the world. And bringing together leaders from those sustainability centers from business schools all around the world to actually get them into an exchange about challenges, but also about opportunities. This is what lies at the very heart of the Network for Business Sustainability since 2011. By now, the Network for Business Sustainability has actually over 35,000 followers from management, research, and practice who are committed to advancing sustainability together. And today's event is actually part of a bigger 4-day workshop, so it will actually continue until Thursday. And also this event has happened before in different universities, like in Cornell, in INSEAD, in Harvey, and at the Ivy universities. This year, the co-hosts for our event are the Center for Sustainability Transformation and Responsibility at the Vienna University of Economics and Business, as well as the Institute for Business Ethics and Sustainability Strategy at the University of Applied Sciences for Management and Communication. We were hoping until the very last minute that we could actually welcome you in Vienna, and then you would be standing here, sitting here with us in the heat, enjoying your glass of water even more. But unfortunately, I don't have to mention the reason why this wasn't possible. So we will try our very best to give you a glimpse of what it's like to be in Vienna right now, even if it's just me telling you how I'm sweating, how it's getting hotter and hotter, so you can feel as if you were here with us today. So this event is bringing together a very diverse group of thought leaders from very different sectors. We will have people from the arts, from human rights experts. We'll have founders and CEOs of small businesses, as well as multinational corporates. We will have students and business scholars. And I think that's the beauty, that there is such a diversity. And we hope that really this diversity will spark a conversation and an exchange, a dialogue about vital contemporary issues that will bring us closer to the transformation towards sustainability. So as I said, I'm going to be your host for today. I will now also be your flight instructor and give you a few instructions that you might need for today to just make sure that you're going to be able to smoothly transition through this event. First, you will have all entered into this platform that we're using for this workshop, which is called Skooks. Just a few things that I need to tell you about Skooks, because we're not going to spend a lot of time there today, but you might spend a bit more time there during the next days. In the dashboard, I think that's the most important element, you will find a video that explains you how to use Skooks. And that's quite useful because we are all hopping from different platforms to different platforms in all these events. So just have a look so you know how to handle it. And then there's an important one. When you go to the sessions, on the right-hand side, you find a red box. And within the red box, it says networking. And there you can find your matches, which I find quite interesting because you've been asked when you were registering, what are your interests and what are you looking for? And isn't it beautiful that we can use algorithms to not only match us in our dating lives, but also match us professionally. So I really hope that you've got interesting matches there. Feel free to contact those people, get in contact with them, exchange via the messages, or even here in the Zoom, if you see any of them, feel free to talk to them via the chat. Which brings us to Zoom. And yes, I know most of us have been in Zoom meetings for the past 1.5 years and we're all quite Zoom savvy, but let me just repeat the most important functions, which are mute yourself and unmute yourself. I know it still happens to people try to speak and they're on mute, and the other way around. So how do we do that? If you go to the very bottom bar of Zoom on the left side, this is the button that says mute and unmute. So just make sure to press it before you want to speak. Right next to it, you see also turn your video on and turn your video off. So you can feel free to leave it on. Maybe whilst the conversations are going on, you can also turn it off to focus more on our speakers. In general, we encourage you to go into speaker view. Then it is easier to also follow the speakers. How do you do that? In the upper right corner of the entire Zoom box, you can change the view from speaker view to gallery view. So always have either the speakers up front or see all the small faces of everyone else. What else? We can rename ourselves to actually make sure that we know who the other people are, because some of you still have shortenings, or, you know, there's always the usual iPhone XYZ blah blah, so we don't know who that person actually is. So how do you rename yourself within your own video? You can go on the upper right corner. You find, if you hover over it with your mouse, you find a blue box with 3 dots. If you click on them, it says rename, and there you can rename yourself to make sure it shows your entire name. Also, which might be interesting, if we share slides, you can change the size between the slide and the videos. There's a thin line in between, and you can just move that around. So in case you want to see the details of the slide, you can make it bigger. If you want to see the details of each other's faces, you can make that bigger. That was the most important part. Other than that, we're going to use this link for the entire session. So you can't just stay here all the time, leave it open. Maybe just make sure that your mute and your videos turn off if you leave the room, but you can always just leave, stay in this Zoom link. If at any point you have tech difficulties, please make sure to contact Wolfgang, who's our amazing tech support in the background, and who will also share his details in the chat, so you know who to go to in case you have any difficulties. Also, we have someone who's with us who will be recording our event, and recording not in the sense of a Zoom recording, but I think in a bit more of a creative way. And for this, maybe he can explain better than I can. I would like to say hello to Markus Engelberger.
Hello, thanks for Hello, thanks for the kind introduction. To clarify a little bit what I'm doing here, so some of you already saw that I have 2 cameras, or I'm present with 2 cameras. On one of them you see my face while I'm speaking, on the other one you see my low-tech tablet on which I'm drawing. And why am I doing this? Why am I capturing key messages in a visual way? So probably most of you are experienced conference participants or conference organizers, and for sure educators and teachers and professors and all of that. And you're very familiar with the limits of our memory, I would put it. So if you participate in an interesting, intriguing conference like this, that goes over 1, 2, 3, 4 days even, and you have all the new information coming in, all the new inputs coming in, and after the conference or at the end of day 1 even, you might have a hard time remembering some of the gold nuggets from session 1 or session 2. That's really a pity. So what I try to do for you, or what I'm doing here for you, is I'm basically a key listener, or I'm listening for key messages throughout the conference day. And I'm not only listening for those messages from a business and educational perspective, but I'm also an artist, and I kind of transform these messages into something I call key message cards. And those key message cards basically are visual storytelling tools that are meant for your use. So basically I'm here to produce little colorful cards, pieces of art that you then can use to share about your ideas, your insights, your stories in the next work, or in the workshops that follow in the next days. Or even at home, you can put it in your reports, you can show it in your meetings, and so on and so forth. So that's what I'm here for.
Great, thank you so much, Markus. We're very happy to have you with us, and we're looking forward to those little pieces of art. All right, so now I think it is time to get started, but before we do this, we also want to know a bit more about you. We already heard from people who were there a bit earlier that we've got quite a diverse audience with us, people from all over the world. For some of you, it's quite early, for some of you it might be a bit later, but we're also quite interested with regards to sustainability. Where are you standing? So I would call our tech support to show the poll that we have prepared for you. So the poll question that we are posing to you is, how are you contributing towards a sustainable transformation at the moment? And you can also click multiple answers. Is it through teaching, through research, through entrepreneurship, through policy development or advocacy, through your personal lifestyle, in another way, or maybe you're not contributing yet, but you will hopefully get a lot of ideas and inspirations on how you could do that today. So I'm inviting all of you to just click your answers. As I said, you can also click multiple answers, and I see a lot of you being very fast here and are putting in their answers already. I will give it a few more seconds. I can almost see everyone has given their votes. That's amazing. Thank you for your engagement. And I will say with this, we can now close the poll. And Wolfgang is showing us the results. Wow, beautiful. 72% are saying that you're mainly contributing towards sustainable transformation through your personal lifestyle. I think this is a very interesting outcome, because quite often we think that, you know, what we do as individuals cannot contribute that much, but maybe it is really our own awareness and the small things we do each day that have a huge impact. I also see quite a lot of you are doing it via teaching and research. And then next comes entrepreneurship, policy development, advocacy. So I can already see there's quite a range of ways how you're contributing, and we're looking forward to talking more about them during the day. Thank you so much for your first kind of giving us a bit of an idea here. This event is really here for you to gain insights, to get inspired, and really enter into the discussion. So we're also inviting you to use that chat as much as you want. It might just be for a comment on what's being said. It might be because you want to add a website or a book or whatever it could be that could be interesting for the others. Feel free to share it in the chat. Also feel free at any time to ask questions to the speakers. Just make it clear to put the name of the speaker at the front so we know this is actually a question and not a comment, and we'll try to come back to them at any point. All right. That was enough from my side, I think, and now it's really more about letting the beautiful league of speakers that we have invited, let them give us their inputs. And it's my great pleasure to start with no one else, but actually the Federal President of the Republic of Austria, Alexander van der Bellen, to hand over for his welcoming speech.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's opening of the Sustainability Center's Community Workshop. Of course, I'm well aware that you do not need me to explain the benefits of sustainability to you, whether short-term or long-term. That would be, as the phrase goes, preaching to the converted. I'm sure especially you, as scientists and entrepreneurs, are constantly facing this topic academically or economically. But I would like to underline nonetheless that thinking and acting in a sustainable way is one of the cornerstones in our fight against the climate crisis. It is a simple and serious truth. We cannot preserve our Earth's ecological system if we continue exploiting these resources the way we do now. Luckily, many have recognized this truth by now. New technologies and innovations awaken and help us to change the way we handle resources, help us to maintain, or better yet, restore the delicate balance of our ecosystem. There are so many strategies to reach that goal, beginning with the decarbonization of the energy sector and the development of smart cities or the reduction of meat consumption. The pleasant byproducts being clean air, water, and atmosphere, as well as the abundance of resources and biodiversity. I wish all of you an educational cross-sector exchange of knowledge and maybe as a byproduct, some new contacts who help you initiating change here in Austria or your own country. All the best for today's event and the following workshops.
So our thank goes to President van der Bellen for those beautiful opening, welcoming notes. The next speaker is also sending her regards, and we're very happy to have received a note from Leonore Gewessler. She's the Austrian minister from the ministry with the longest name, the Federal Ministry for Climate Action, Environment, Energy, Mobility, Innovation and Technology. Minister, thank you for your welcoming speech.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear guests, welcome. I want to thank you for the invitation and the opportunity to talk to you today. After these challenging months, living through the corona crisis, which we all want to finally end, we can all see how much we have learned from this situation. The wish to find a solution to an ongoing crisis, to end a situation that does not yet offer a way to go forward, is a powerful driving force. The will to overcome is able to set free an unknown potential for creativity, boldness, and let's be honest, capital. A crisis shall not scare or immobilize us. We should, if we can, turn this pressure into something helpful. Because there is one thing we know: surrendering is not an option. The corona crisis and the climate crisis might not have a lot in common at first sight. The first feels imminent and close. The other one feels stretched in time, and even though we can see all the horrible effects, we manage to push them aside. You can feel a fever, but you don't really feel 0.5 degrees. The Earth's lungs are collapsing. It's just harder to notice. But if you take a second look, there are a lot of similarities. We have a large basis of research we can build on. We know the mechanisms behind the climate crisis. We have the technologies, and we know which legislation to put in place. A little more than a year ago, having an event like this as an online format felt very strange for all of us, but we got used to it. Although the important part of networking, talking, thinking, discussing together still does not feel quite the same, we have learned to appreciate the possibilities it brings along. I'm certain that with these online formats, it's not only possible for far more people from around the world to attend these events, oftentimes they're also more accessible and the costs are lower. I was asking myself which were the major steps towards a more sustainable future in the last year. Apart from working on solving problems with a new legislation in the fields of avoiding plastic waste, renewable energy, funding new sustainable solutions and investments, and many more, I noticed that, in fact, traveling for meetings has decreased massively since we got used to having them online instead. I'm convinced that it will stay with us longer than this pandemic. In the end, many small changes will be able to contribute to a more sustainable future as well. Talking about the environment, the corona crisis has shown that when push comes to shove, we are able to work together, make a common effort, and do our very best to overcome a crisis. I'm optimistic, and I see the need to show the same reaction and action towards the climate crisis, not only because it's threatening to all of us. In the last years, Austria has already shown high potential in creating sustainable solutions, and now it is time to bring them to use and develop them even further. In my view, climate action is a multi-purpose tool tackling both the climate crisis and the economic crisis at the same time. I'm hopeful that we are at a point in this climate crisis where most people will agree that the only way is forward, that sectors need to work together to find solutions and to build a more sustainable circular economy. I'm very happy that this event with today's topic, sustainable transformation, radical change versus more of the same, can take place in Austria today, since it addresses issues that are a matter of the heart for me. Finally, to all of you, enjoy the interesting sessions that will take place, take the opportunity and think about new ideas, whether for yourself or for your business. I want to close by wishing you a productive and insightful conference. Thanks again for inviting me, and have a great day.
Yes, I think that is a beautiful sign to see that our Minister of Climate is hopeful and optimistic. So we very much appreciate this welcoming note from Minister Gewessler. And with this, I am happy to hand over to our first live speaker to also give us his welcoming address. He is Markus Scholz, Professor of Business Ethics and Head of the Institute for Business Ethics and Sustainable Strategy at the University of Applied Sciences for Management and Communication in Vienna. Markus, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Katharina. Who had the idea to put me after the federal president and a federal minister? I mean, how can I top that? I cannot, but I can say hello, collaborators, colleagues, and friends. Welcome to the 2021 Network Business and Sustainability Workshop. I've been introduced. My name is Markus Scholz. I'm heading the Institute for Business Ethics and Sustainable Strategy here in Vienna. But of course, much more than my, I guess, dull introduction. I would like to personally thank the Austrian President Alexander van der Bellen and Federal Minister Leonore Gewessler for their kind words of introduction. And I would like to express my sincere appreciation and their attendance in today's event. In addition, I would like to extend my words of thank you to Professor Hanna Pieger. She's the rector of the Vienna University of Economics and Business, and our very own Magister Michael Herisch. He's the CEO of the Vienna University of Applied Science for making this event possible in the first place. And I would like to thank them for their continued dedications toward advancing the topics of both societal responsibility and sustainability transformation. As I said earlier, I work with the Institute of Business Ethics and Sustainable Strategy, short IBES. IBES here is the manifestation of sustainability as a key strategic priority for our very own school, the University of Applied Science in Vienna. At IBES, my colleagues and I, we live and breathe business ethics and sustainability, not only advancing the academic discourse on it, we also publish in renowned academic journals, but we also disseminate the knowledge to our students through teaching and to corporate stakeholders through practitioner outreach and business partnerships. In unison, the Competence Center for Sustainability, Transformation and Responsibility, STAR at VU Vienna, researches the grand challenges of our time and serves as a platform for networking, knowledge exchange and outreach on topics related to environmental, social and economic sustainability. And as you know, teamwork makes the dream work. Without the exceptional cooperation between IBES and STAR, this event would not have been possible. So thank you both to the IBES team and to the STAR team. Now, through the outstanding community of sustainability centers here at NBS and that we have been able to build and grow in the previous decades, we have been able to bring together thought leaders and visionaries here today. The aim of the NBS workshop is for leaders of sustainability centers to work collectively towards not just reacting to a new normal, but proactively leading their business schools in shaping it, designing the sustainability center of the future. Of course, academia cannot do this alone. Everybody is part of designing a sustainable future. Therefore, and for the first time ever, we decided to kick off the SCC workshop with a multi-stakeholder dialogue day, bringing together innovative thinkers from business, academia, and research, opening up dialogue on vital contemporary issues from human rights to the role to small businesses, and even art in advancing sustainability. I'm very much aware that I'm talking for too long already, but this is important. I would like to thank Daniela Ortiz and Milda Silinsirentate and the whole team for their seemingly endless commitment, time, and effort in organizing this year's event. Because without them, none of us would be here today. Dani and Milder, I think you are simply great. And now I'm looking forward to a stimulating dialogue today, an exciting 2021 Sustainability Centers Community Workshop. Thank you and welcome to virtual Vienna.
Thank you so much, Markus, for those beautiful opening words and also the gratefulness, which I think is always very much appreciated. And with this, I'm handing over to our second online welcoming speaker, Günter Stahl. Günter Stahl is Professor of International Management and co-director of the Center for Sustainability, Transformation and Responsibility at the Vienna University of Economics and Business. Günter, the floor is yours.
Thank you for the introduction, Katharina. I'm delighted to welcome all of you to the opening day of the NBS workshop. delighted, but also with a bit of regret that we cannot host you in person on our beautiful campus here in Vienna. But I'm confident that the program that the organizing team has put together will compensate for the lack of on-campus experience. As Markus just mentioned, we have a very impressive group of speakers lined up who will share their perspectives on how to tackle pressing global challenges such as climate change, rising inequalities and other grand challenges, and drive sustainable transformation. I can't think of a more timely and important topic for organizations to have on their agenda. The other day I was mountain hiking with a good friend, Joseph Wortel, who is a former executive vice president of Shell. And as we were hiking along the trail, we talked about this conference, and I asked him what he thought about the recent court ruling that forces Shell to cut carbon emissions by 45% by 2030, I think it is. And he said something very relevant to the theme of today's workshop. He said, if we don't change dramatically the way we operate and find ways to engage in radical innovation, we will be extinct in a few years' time. And not only the big oil companies, the whole energy sector will have to transform itself. The automotive and airline industries, we need new mobility concepts. Even industries such as the global fashion industry, with its exploitative practice, can't go on like this. All these sectors and industries are ripe for disruption. So returning to the theme of today's opening event, sustainable transformation, radical change, or more of the same, I think every reasonable person will agree that more of the same is no longer an option. We need sustainable innovation and radical innovation on all fronts across sectors and industries. The question, of course, is how to do it, and I expect some tentative answers to this question from today's opening event. Now, I want to extend a big thanks to the organizing committee and everyone involved in the planning of this conference, the Network of Business Sustainability, our co-organizers at FHWien, and a special thanks to the incredible team of STAR headed by Dr. Mildred Zilinskete. And I also want to thank the rector and vice rectors of WU for their generous support. So thank you for joining us this afternoon. I'm looking forward to thought-provoking and inspiring discussions.
Thank you so much, Günter. I think that was quite a beautiful round of first introductions, specifically because they all seem very personally passionate about this topic. And I think that is what's really the focus of today as well. What we're going to talk about is not just an abstract topic, but it's something that really concerns all of us. And there might be some dooming images that have been put to the front right now as well, but there also is a lot of passion and a lot of optimism and hope to not just do the same over and over again, but really find radical new ideas and approaches. So let's get started.